All right, welcome to part 4 of the Consulting Launch Kit introductory module. Today we're talking about building your wealthy mind. This is a phenomenal and it's going to be an important training because it's going to set the groundwork for your identity. You've probably heard the be, do, have framework that kind of comes from the more modern movement of success psychology, but it's really important that you understand what you have is a byproduct of what you do, which what you do is a byproduct of who you are. You be, you do, and you have. And this is important because in this, we're talking about how to identify and create your identity, your wealthy mind. As just a reminder, we're almost done with this first module. Then we hop into the second module. And this whole thing has been about unlocking success as a professional consultant. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you have some good notes. Quick overview of the process. We're still in module 1. We're almost done though, but this is going to have some homework. This is the first piece of training curriculum where you're going to have to get down into the curriculum and do some work, which is why in the last video I said, hey, take a little bit of a break, take a little bit of a rest, make sure you're focused and ready to go for the next piece, because today we're going to give some homework. We're going to build out our identity. So we've already covered in this first module, the introduction, how to fail. We learned from Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger how to invert our plans so that we can create clarity. Clarity really defines how you feel about a process. We talked about how to win. Today we're talking about the advanced mental programming required for you to become who you're supposed to become. This is an important quote for you to understand. Those who think. Those who think govern those who labor. Yes, you will need to work hard. Yes, you will need to put in the reps. Yes, you will need to be a diligent laborer when you have your plan. But everything starts at the realm of thought. Everything starts with thinking. This is why we start in the mind. What you do starts with what you think. What you say starts with what you think. And as a professional educator or trainer or consultant, you make money based on what you do and what you say. Both of those things start with the mind. A scarcity mind will constantly feel overwhelmed and anxious and tired and confused. And you've heard it said before, if you've got too much to do and not enough time to do it. Well, let me just break that for a second. Your issue is not time. Your issue is your clarity, and that starts in the mind. You have plenty of time to make sure the most important things are done. You have plenty of time to make sure the needle moving activity and the needle moving work is done. But the difference between feeling overwhelmed, like you do not have enough time, and feeling like you have clear, certain direction and a calmness of state, you're always ready to go. The difference between the abundant mind and the scarcity mind starts right here today. So how do we go from here to there? How do we go from, I have too much to do, not enough time to do it, I do not know what I'm supposed to do, and oh my God, I got to make this work. Fear, scarcity, trepidation. How do we go from here to there? And I'm going to introduce to you today a tool called the morning formula. Now, the main purpose of the morning formula is to prime you every single day for optimal performance. It will reset you to ensure that you are operating from the best version of yourself rather than fear, scarcity, or worry. And I invented this tool many years ago because I don't know if you know this about me, and I don't know who you are yet. Hopefully I get to meet you at some point. But if you're anything like me, you tend to have high highs and low lows. And you maybe some days you feel really amazing, and some days you feel like, oh my gosh, what have I just done? What am I doing? Life's not moving forward the way I wanted to. And if that's true for you, guess what? You're a textbook classic entrepreneurial mind. Your mind is likely brilliant and creative. And when you have this brilliance, you also feel the effect of the ups and downs, a little bit of the roller coaster. Now, I would see all these people online who are like always winning and they're always just crushing it. They're crushing life. So many people love them. And I'm like, screw you. I don't feel that way. I feel like today's a bad day and I'm not excited about it. And you could be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm learning from this dude. Well, you're learning from someone who's honest. That's who you're learning from right now. I'm just being honest with you and practical. And so I created this tool, and I took bits and pieces from different trainings. One of the books that I read in this season of my life is called Psycho-Cybernetics. And Dr. Maxwell Maltz talked about the theater of the mind and the way that you create your identity in the mind. And then when that's programmed correctly, everything flows out of that programming of the mind. And people who master this tool, they grow exponentially faster. than people who ignore it. So you can listen to this and watch this and be like, oh, this is a bunch of hoo-hoo, rah-rah. But you're going to be stuck if you don't take it seriously. And as we get into it, I'm going to give you a template that you can use, and we'll just go through it step by step. So here's the template. There is a link on this that you can, underneath this training, you can actually grab it. You can click on file and you can make a copy. And this will be a copy of your own morning formula, and you can fill it out. Okay, and so I'm leaving some of these templates here, but there are several sections. There's the bio, which is the theater of the mind. There's the dream board. There's the rules and the habits. These are the things that run your life like an engine or a machine. We want us to program these things into our daily, weekly behavior. There's our values. This is what we stand for, who I am, what I want the world to know about me. There are principles. These are principles that I believe. These are things that I want my mind to adhere to. And principles really values help you make decisions. Principles help you regulate problems. And then there's your affirmations. Theater of mind, we've already covered this. Affirmations is at the very bottom. There's a long list. So you can go through and you can do this on your own. Now, a couple of points before we get into it. The first point is this morning formula needs to be your morning formula. And so I've left a lot of this stuff in here just so that you can see it and kind of see how I put it together. And this might have changed based on when this was recorded, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a template so that you could not be starting from zero. Okay. So this is just the very beginning. Name, this will be your name. Let's put my name. Taylor is an amazing dad and an even better husband. One of his main roles in life is healthy support for his wife, Lindsay. She flourishes and grows and shines around him. And notice this is the first thing that's important to me is I don't want to just be a businessman. I want to be a good dad and a good husband. And I want my family to flourish around me. I feel like one of my main roles in life is to help support and be there for my wife so that she can grow and flourish and do what she wants to do. And notice how that's right up here at the top. You see a lot of people who start this off like, I make $1 million a year. Well, that's not the most important thing to me, but it is important. He has over 100 streams of income. Notice this is written in third person. I'm reading this about myself. He has over 100 streams of income, 2 full-time staff just to run his estate and equity positions, franchises, equities, real estate, softwares. His family is healthy and happy, and his first responsibility is his favorite responsibility, family. Taylor has written 7 best-selling books and is currently an in-demand and highly sought-after speaker for entrepreneurs, real estate investors, and small business owners, both in corporate and the church world. He speaks twice a month at small events and seminars, charges $50,000 to $150,000 per trip. He exited his first company, and he is a partner in a real estate brand that owns 200 vacation rentals, 2 commercial office buildings in Nashville, and 500 multifamily apartment units. His true love is still marketing and advertising. As one of the leading and most sought-after consultants for growing small businesses, he spends roughly half his time growing businesses in exchange for fees and equity. His personal holdings company, Welch Equities, holds a minority stake in 10 different brands. One is a majority holder. His family lives in a beautiful property in Nashville. They frequent the beach house in Rosemary every other month. His estimated net worth is $55 million, and his brands reach a combined 20 million viewers per month. He's been cited as one of the top 5 accounts and brands to follow in money and marketing industry by Bloomberg, Forbes, and several other smaller tiered journals. His podcasts are downloaded 14 million times per month, one of the largest shows in his space. His personal brand reaches 20 million followers, 400 million impressions annually, blah, 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 blah. You can read this. This is your definitive biography, is who you are, and you read it, and it begins to program your mind. Okay? Then I have in red here when it switches to the theater of the mind. And if you wanted to pick up an extra bit of reading, you could pick up the book Psycho-Cybernetics. It's by Maxwell Maltz. And you could read through it because it talks in depth about the theater of the mind and what the science is behind it and how it works. Okay, so in the red is when I switch to the theater of the mind. This is my perfect day. Craig Ballantyne is someone who has a book called I think it's The Perfect Day or The Perfect Process. And it's similar to this. It's kind of like the theater of the mind. You design what your perfect day looks like. The main consulting company is doing wonderful. I wake up at 5. There are X people subscribed, and I'm going through and I'm describing what my perfect day looks like. We have an event in Nashville next week. Today's busy, but not bad. After lifting, hit the treadmill for 30 minutes, home by 4:45. Kate has ballet lessons tonight. Kate's my daughter. She's currently 4. Quite excited about it. While at the gym, I take a quick peek at the real estate numbers. And so you can just see here, I am describing my perfect day. And this is what I want every day to look like for me. And the more I read this, the more I get in tune with it and the more I make it happen. What you want is you want to begin making decisions from the place of this identity. And as you read it every day, You begin to stabilize out. You neutralize fear. You begin to get into a persona that is who you're supposed to be. Ben Hardy has another great book called Be Your Future Self Now. And he talks about this as well. So this is combining decades of research and tons of different wide-ranging trainings, philosophers, psychologists, and is putting it into one tool called the Morning Formula to help you program yourself for a constant momentum. Okay. Next section is the dream board. And this is not mine. This is just, I took this from one of our old team members. His name was Matt. And this was his dream board. This is something that you put on here. You put pictures on here. Let's say we just wanted to, put a picture of let's say a private plane. Okay. Let's say that's something that we want. Cool. We can just throw it in here. Oops, unsupported image type. Well, how are we supposed to do this? Let's just use this. Insert image, search the web, and we'll do private plane. There we go. All right. So anything you want to add here that describes like the life you want to have, you can throw it in here. And as you look through this, you're programming, you are tweaking, you are tuning, and these are goals that you want to have and that at some point will come to pass. And this is important to think about. I can tell you this, I've never had a morning formula that did not eventually come to pass if I honored the morning formula process. If I was reading it every day, if I was diligent to consume it, and if I was visualizing it, because that's the thing here. What you want is you want to actually visualize this theater of the mind. You don't just want to read it through and it's mechanical and it's just super quick and you get it done with. But here you want to close your eyes and visualize this picture. And this was your house. You want to close your eyes and visualize what if this was your plane. You want to close your eyes and visualize if you have a picture of an event with 1,000 people in it. And that's really a dream of yours and a goal of yours. You put it on this dream board and you visualize you speaking in front of that event and you're becoming that person. And it's amazing when you read through the world of quantum and positive psychology, we begin to create the things externally that we rehearse and visualize internally. Okay. Here's the next section is the rules and habits. These are going to be your own rules. And I've just taken a couple of my rules and I put them in here. Every day I wake up at 5. When I wake up, the first thing I do is 1, 2, 3. By waking up at this time, it means I respect my daily disciplines and the value of my time. When I respect my time, other people respect it also. I stay off my phone and the news for the first 90 minutes of every day. This time is for me and my future, not for them. When I honor this, so notice a cadence here. Here's the rule. Here's what it means when you honor the rule. Okay? Next, I make a valuable contribution to society by publishing content my market would enjoy every single day. Occasionally I skip if it's absolutely necessary, but when I make this post, I'm telling my market, I have what you need and I'm worthy of your attention. Here's the rule. Here's what happens when you do it. I am already successful. I do not have to prove anything to anyone because I control my state. I honor the contracts I set for myself. I have already earned the respect I wish to have. There's no need for bragging, arguing, fighting for what's mine. It is already mine. I exercise my body. Again, you can read through these. You can change these rules based on what works for you. Then the next step down is values. Now, these values are to help you make decisions based on who you are. So I want to just clearly draw a distinction between values, rules, and principles. Think of your rules and habits as the machine that runs your daily life. Think of your values as what is important to you and how you make big decisions. And think of your principles, which we'll get to in just a second. These are things that reflect what you believe to help you tackle problems, okay? So these are my values. These are actually my values that I've just copied and pasted. Don't just leave these here. Make your own values. Make them yours. I am who I am in public matches who I am in private and vice versa. One time I was sitting down with an equity group And we had gotten connected with this equity group. They do mergers and acquisitions. They buy roll-ups, agency roll-ups, and sell them to big private equity. And the connection point was at the table. And she said, we want to work with you to help us with these agencies to profitably turn them around. And so why do you want to work with me? And she said, because I've followed you for a while and I've asked around, and the common theme I get is what you see is what you get. Who you are on the internet and who you are in person and who you are at home and who you are everywhere. It's the same person. And I said, isn't that incredible? Because that is my value as I've put it here. And I didn't have to tell her to say that, but your values have a way of showing up in your real life. And the more you adhere to these, the more people will notice. Here's the next one. Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, that's where I am, and that is what I am doing. I am 100% in, present, and full throttle. I don't do it if I'm going to halfway do it. I invest 100% passion into my projects. If I can't do that for any reason, I remove myself from the commitment to prevent drag and obligation. God's way is the opposite way. Go all in on friends and people, my family. I optimize for net life. You can read this through on your own time. Again, I want to make these trainings quick and bite-sized enough for you to get to work. Then these principles, I'm not going to read every single principle here, but I want you to know that these principles bring us a little bit closer to earth, to a little bit closer to the ground. Think of your rules as like really on the ground, boot level. Think of your rules and habits as 30,000 feet, and think of your principles as sort of in the middle. This is kind of what I believe and how I think about the world around me. Let everything you do and own convey an image of importance. Making money is not easy. These are some stories to kind of lock in your principles. Realize the truth. No one, not the Pope, not the president, maybe not even possibly Richard Branson, is better than you. They simply know something you don't, believe something you're not believing, or they're doing something you're not doing. Become immune from distractions. Pay attention to nothing except the truth. And all of these principles in here, there are a lot of quotes from other people. And when I read the quotes, I'm like, man, you know what? I want that to define me. And when you read something that defines you and it makes you think, oh, that's me, you want to grab it and put it in your principles. And then we have a long list of affirmations. You can change these, you can take them and tweak them. But it's a good idea to read about 10 of these per day. So you just go through, read them, skip around, and these are really good. I am very proud to be free of judging other people. And I've taken these lists from a really, really wide array of different trainings. And so what's important for you is to, I've given you a lot of just random ideas, but cut this list down to your top 20. So take the ones that are here, take your top 20, discard the rest. We only want to read the top 20, and we want to read 10 or so every day. So we're reading the same things. They're getting programmed inside of us. Okay? Does that make sense? Almost every time someone slips from this morning formula, they end up turning one bad week into a bad month, a bad quarter, a bad year. This is a protection device that you've got to make sure you lock into. Listen to this. This is Steve Siebold. He's one of the greatest trainers of high-performance executives, athletes in the world. He said, the pros know if they allow their championship habits to slip for even one day, that habit will begin to atrophy. What does atrophy mean? It means it goes away. It stops working. It breaks down. Tom Gaynor, one of the greatest investors in the century, says resounding victories tend to be the result of small, incremental advances and improvements sustained over long stretches of time. So what is your goal? Your goal and your homework, first and foremost, is number one, build your morning formula, use the template. It should take you a couple of hours to do this, maybe 2 hours-ish, and then start going through it every day. That's part of your success formula. Go through it every day, begin to program. And then your second goal should be to stack up as long of a runway as you can of doing this successfully. So you do this every day, you implement the winning process we talked about from the earlier video, and then you just go as long as you can. And if you can go for 30 days, you can go for 60. If you can go for 60, you're going to probably hit 90. Once you hit 90, things begin to shift for you. Nobody even knows, people will not even recognize your level of certainty, your level of confidence, and everything external follows growth internally. That's why we spend so much time in this first module here. We're not wasting time, I promise you. After several thousand people have taken people through a process, we have tweaked and innovated and rehearsed and fixed and removed and added, and this is the way to do it. Everything out there follows everything in here, all right? So do that, get that homework done before you get into the next module. And we've covered it, the introduction, how to fail, how to win, developing a wealthy mind. Next, we're gonna talk a little bit in the next video just about how to navigate the curriculum and the pieces that you have access to, and then we're hitting the ground. So this is all preparation. We're just preparing the ground. We're preparing the soil so that you can move forward with speed. All right. I'll see you in the next training.